You got a sneaky preview of me there. How are we doing, everyone? Sammy, United People's TV. You know what's a bit weird? Every single time I've started this show for like the last few weeks, my intro's been muted on my end. But I know it's fine for you. But it worked for me there. I was like, that's actually a sick intro. If I can say so myself. How are we all doing? We're going to run through all the news. We're going to speak about Ayden Heaven. We're going to speak about the government backing. Well, it's not even the government backing the stadium. It feels like the government wants the stadium just as much as maybe Ineos do. I'm going to run through the latest comments on that. We'll also speak about the future of Sancho, Antony, a little bit on Sancho. As I said, yes, I don't really want to speak about it too much, but an update from Rob Dawson from ESPN. Little comments from David Ornstein on Rasmus Højlund and Victor Osimhen. And yeah, we'll have a good old conversation. You'll fire in your comments. I will try and answer as many of them as possibly can. It's not even cold here today. I've got no idea why I fancied wearing a hat today, but today felt like a hat day, so I popped one on. Good morning to you, Toby. Gifting 5 memberships to kick off the show every single day. This community just delivers. Really, really does. And I think I said this to you before. At some point when we're good again, we're going to have a lot of fun here, considering how tight-knit we've stayed when United have been crap. Good morning to you, Stephanie. Alex, you're there as well. Carl, good morning to you. I saw it start the show. Akash, you're there. How you doing, man? Captain, got John Hammond, John Neild. We've got Harishi. We've got Liam Griffin. Got Bavesh. We've got Yusuf, Theo, Willem. Lots and lots and lots joining in. Maybe I should bring back the old gong. The old gong's just sitting there chilling. Still there. It's off camera. You wait until the new studio, people. Fingers crossed. I'll give you a little bit of an update there. I'm not touch wood and all that, peeps. I'm hoping to finally be in the new house by the end of April, which will be very exciting. Because I've been trying to buy a house for nearly a year now. If it goes through, it's going to be the third house I've had to go through. The whole solicitors, it's just been the last 12 months for me personally. There's been a lot of frustration. All the rehab from surgery, 3 houses that I've gone through, and that situation I told you with the tenant, which I've still got to deal with, and I really, really don't want to deal with. You know, it's something you got to do, and you're like, that's kind of how I feel with that. So I'm fingers crossed. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you that is because then I'll be building the proper permanent studio of United People's TV. And I'll probably actually take some of your input as well. If there's anybody who's internal designers or anybody who wants to get involved in maybe what it could look like, slide into my DMs, drop me an email, right? Because I want to do something really cool. And anything is possible, really. That sounded a bit cliche. Anyway, let's get into the show. Yes, Anurag, it will mean a better studio set because I can touch the back of this. I've got about 3 or 4 foot of room. It's been a good temporary studio. Big up, Mum and Dad. Cass and Mum and Dad. Had to move back in with the parents. It is what it is. Anyway, enough of me and my own personal problems. Let's start talking about United. And let's talk about the news. Now, today, there's a bit of football. For anybody that watches, anybody care about international football? I've just realised there that the subs aren't showing. I've realised now that that's why. I spotted a little problem here, but it's a little bit too late. I can't fix that until tomorrow, so you can't see the live sub counter. I don't know what we're on. I think we're less than 8,000 now to 500,000. I've got to do something big, man. I'm working with I'm trying to book in some time with the software team to get some sort of road to 500k things built into the software. This is something I was doing previously, but Akash, I don't think I'll be going Victorian vintage for a studio, right? That'll be a bit of a weird flex, okay? That'll be a bit of a weird flex. But anyway, the United players who are in action tonight. You got De Ligt, who is in the squad for the Netherlands. He's been in good form, but if I remember correctly, Koeman kind of overlooks De Ligt for the international squad. He always plays, what's his face? I always call him stuff in the fridge. I don't know why I've ever done that. Anyway, Stefan De Vrij, he plays him, plays Van Dijk, and I don't know who the other third one is. I don't really care. But De Ligt invariably might start on the bench. Bruno and Dalot are both in action, and it's Portugal against Denmark. So if you're going to watch one game tonight, watch Portugal against Denmark, because you've got 5 United players who could potentially be involved. Dorgu and Højlund and Eriksen for Denmark, and Dalot and Fernandes for Portugal. Lo and behold, Bruno is going to play 90 minutes. Lo and behold, Bruno will probably get 2 assists. Honestly, when Bruno is retired, somebody has to do some sort of experiment on Bruno. Not in a weird way, but he's some form of physical freak. How he is able to cope with the amount of just sheer output that he does without rest, without injuries. What is it? Remember was it last season when Bruno was sitting there like 3 or 4 days before we played Spurs away, and he had his bloody leg up in a protective boot, and he played like the full 90. He's nuts. And also, Chido could be in action for Denmark's under-21s. I think that's his first call-up for the under-21s, if I'm correct. Don't actually know who they're playing, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep a peep on it, all right? I've no idea what channel Denmark-Portugal is on. I'll be completely honest. I don't know. What is it? Is it a friendly? UEFA Nations League playoff. Is it? What's the point in the Nations League? Oh, seriously, what is the point? I think the idea was that they tried to create a more competitive environment with internationals. And I think... Was it the winner qualifies for the Euros, but the next international tournament's the World Cup? Is it? I don't care. Really, I don't even care about international. Look, I love a World Cup or I love a Euros when it's on, but my involvement and my interest in international football basically exists only around tournaments. I can only speak for myself. I don't know what it is. I think I do know what it is, actually. I think it's just exhaustion from a fan's point of view of just watching football. Of like, how much football can you possibly be interested in? Now, some people... I remember back at uni. Did you ever do this at uni? I don't know, when you went. Back in the day, you used to sit there. It was like Champions League nights. You had the main game on the TV. Then you had your laptop set up on a chair to the right. You had your friend's laptop on the chair to the left. You had like 3 games going on. You're like... You're trying to watch like 3 or 4 games at once. It's funny, man. I always used to do that at uni. Tournaments are where it's at, says Akash. Yeah, I enjoy tournaments. They're great. I'd love to go to one. What's the next ones? The World Cup's in USA, Mexico, and Canada, I think. Jack, thanks for the super chat, dude. You're saying after all the stress, you deserve things going well and getting better. You're a real one, and keep leveling up the channel. Thank you very much, man. I love what I do here at United People's TV. I had a little not a little moment yesterday, but just something that I'm really aware of is being aware of the moment. You know how sometimes you always just end up wishing for tomorrow and then you kind of wish today away. I love what I do, man. What was it? This is what it was. Tell you what it was. Have a little story here for a minute or two. It's the international break. You're allowed to do little different things. I went to see Hans Zimmer in the cinema last night. Yeah, I know. I love Hans Zimmer. Blah, blah, blah. But he was doing like a limited release, like cinematic release of a performance that was out in Dubai. And watching that, you can just see how much he loves what he does. Like, he's just smiling when he's going on. And I love what I do here. Imagine that. I know United are crap, but I get to talk about the football club that I love as my job. And I'm starting to produce like stuff that I'm really, really proud of. I'm so proud of the community we built here, but I love the cinematics stuff that I'm able to do with the United People's Productions. Yeah, I just had that moment yesterday. I think it's pretty cool. Dave watching from Barbados. Can we switch seats, Dave? Can you just fly here and I'll come just jam on the beach? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Jay saying I can't wait for the international break to be over. What is this, the 4th one? This is the last one. You remember that? Is it October, November? No. September, October, November? 3 international breaks in 3 months. And it's always long. Always long. Anyway, let's speak about the football now. That was a bit of a roundabout intro to the show. And let's start by talking about Heaven. Now, when we saw that photo, it was... you kind of feared the worst. Then Andy Mitten, after the game, said that Ayden Heaven left the stadium in a protective boot. I don't know whether he had crutches or not, or whether he walked unaided, but it was a good start, okay? And Laurie Whitwell's followed up on that last night by saying that Ayden Heaven has been at Carrington this week without a protective boot. And I think that's a really, really good thing. Sorry, a comment caught me out there. It's something that really annoys me, actually. GC me. Please fix the glare on the Cantona photo. I can't, because that Cantona photo is about 2.5 feet away from me. I've got 2 foot to that light, and I can't change the angle on anything in here. Trust me. I've done a lot about this on camera. Just the fact that you've commented on it, it really annoys me. That's why there's only certain photos that I can put up here because of that glare. And the only way that's going to change is when I get my full studio and that light is as far away from that photo as it should be. But I can't in the space that I've got. All right? So that's why it's got glare on it. It's really, really annoying. So that comment just caught me off guard. But anyway, really good news. All right? Really good news that he's walking without a protective boot. So it kind of feels like Heaven's reaction there, United's precaution, was maybe a little bit of out of fear more than anything, because it must have just been like he must have just been scared, I suppose. Either way, it sounds like Heaven's injury is nowhere near as bad as it could have looked. Don't talk to me down there about using anti-reflective glass, please, people, please. You make it sound like I haven't already done anything that you suggest in these comments. I've already done. All right, this is the best that it can be, and we'll leave it there. It's just a little twinkle in his eye. It's Cantona after all. Good recovery, Sam. Good recovery. Now, this was the latest United People's Production video that went out yesterday. And it was our little mini documentary on the stadium so far, everything that we know. Obviously, part of that which was missed out was the conversation with Patrick Campbell that came out literally yesterday, and there was no way, was it yesterday or the day before? There's no way that we can include it in the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to sort of continuing to report on everything to do with the stadium. I know they're in jest, of course. Well, probably partly. One of the top comments was always, Sam, you should work on Ineos's PR team. And anybody, like, I suppose it's just the way it goes online, man. You just try and wind people up. And sometimes you nibble. And if you're good, you're able to permanently ignore them, right? Yeah, sometimes I'm not. Simply because I commit so much of my life to what I do. I don't just spout stuff for the sake of spouting. I like to think that I present stuff differently. Anyway. It's the financing. It really is the financing. All right. That's the crux of all of this. But you're damn right that I am going to be excited about the idea that Manchester United once again will have the best stadium in the UK. We held that title as well as 13 Premier League titles before. Is that a return to United's glory days? No. But United should have the best. United should be the best. And United should have ambitions to be the best. And these things are returning. Well, we'll see what goes on next. But this is just a slight update from the government side of things. Because, truth be told, I don't think this stadium plan would have even reached the stage that it has reached without government backing. And this here is the latest on that from the Secretary of State for Culture, Lisa Nandy. She's just been kind of making it abundantly clear how much the government actually wants this to happen. I don't know whether that's a typo. It's a moving feast at the moment. No idea about that. But we are impatient to get the economy growing again and get projects like this off the ground. We are not wasting a minute. To me, from the outside looking in, like that bit there, we are impatient. It feels like the UK government needs a project like this to sort of hold it up and say, well, look how much we've done for the economy. Look at all the jobs that we've helped to create over here. Look at the homes that we're helping to build over there. It feels like that's their motive behind helping that, but that will indirectly help Manchester United. United won't be getting any funding from this. And I wonder if you can do... I do really feel that there's a video that I should do as a follow-up to like go into the financing a bit more. Because I think it's the financing. Like Takeoff, you're saying they want it to happen but won't provide any financial help. There is going to be financial help that will come indirectly. And I said it in the podcast this morning. I imagine a big part of that will be to do with the relocation of the freight terminal. We all know the train track that's right alongside Old Trafford. It's not a passenger train. It's commercial. It's freight. And there's a huge freight port, transport port, just next to the land that United own. Relocating that, I think where is it? Is it St Helens? I can't remember where. Somewhere just outside of Manchester. Moving it there and changing that to a passenger terminal will, of course, from a government perspective, create new transport, create new jobs, create better links and blah, 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 blah. So the government will probably pay for that. And United will indirectly gain from that. And Jonathan, you're saying that nobody knows about the financing yet, but just even if... You know, one thing I would say, and again, I said this on the pod this morning. Who else watches Grand Designs, right? I love a bit of Grand Designs. Grand Designs is like a good evening show. You having any dinner, you're watching it. Plus, I like seeing stuff getting renovated and rebuilt. It's kind of cool. Anytime you've ever watched Grand Designs, doesn't matter who the people are that you get on, whether it's like just, I don't know, Tom and Sue, who are two random farmers who have just come across a house that they want to be, or whether they're like former architects that have got loads of money. The budgets are kind of irrelevant. Anytime you watch Grand Designs, they'll be like, right, so our budget is 200 grand and our timeline is, we want to get it done in 18 months. And you sit there and you go, 200 grand in 18 months. I know what this is going to be at the end of the episode. You get to the end of the episode and he goes, well, we ran into this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem. It actually cost us 380 grand and it took us 2.5 years. Like, I've only ever seen one episode of Grand Designs where the project is on time and on budget. Only one. So this is going to cost more than 2 billion. 2 billion is like your baseline number. I genuinely would expect to see this go to somewhere in the region of probably 3 billion. Realistically. Something's going to happen in the next few years. It's going to make materials prices go... Something will happen. It never goes on budget. So the conversation around 2 billion, it's probably going to have to be more than that, like 2.5, 3 billion. And then I just don't know where you're going to get it from. If you look at the naming rights, I've spoken about that before. I think it was the SoFi Stadium has a deal worth, I think, $30 million a year for 20 years. So $600 million for a 20-year naming of the SoFi Stadium. And United could and should be getting double that. 50 to 60 million a year across a 20-year period would be $1 billion. God, let's just do it that because it's nice and easy. 50 million a year for 20 years is $1 billion. That's a big chunk paid for without gaining any debt. And I honestly don't think if I was to put a prediction on it, United will sell stadium naming rights. I think that's a guarantee. And my prediction would be that United would aim for that. 50 million a year for 20 years. So 1 billion just from naming rights. And then how else do you get involved in terms of investment? How else do you think you do it? Get involved. Put it in the chat. You could technically sell off a percentage of the stadium. Hypothetically. You could... What else could you do? I don't really know. Apart from just selling off part of the stadium. What else do you do? Let me know in the comments. I'll read some of them out. Alex saying, hopefully they've got actual professionals project managing it, not just some random couple. Well, you'd think so with a project like this. Paul is talking about naming the stands. I imagine the stands will be named... I do wonder about that. Type yes or no in the comments here, right? Do you think that the Sir Alex Ferguson stand will be transferred over? Or the Bobby Charlton stand will be transferred? Do you think that the stands... I mean, you're going to have the Stretford end, right? Presumably, they're going to call it the Stretford end, the new Stretford end. I don't think anyone's going to really pay that much for a stand name, are they? I don't know. Yeah, of course, you could do branding stuff like beer deals and somebody selling food. But you're going to be talking in the millions there, but we need to talk about the millions, or like the tens or the hundreds of millions. I don't think you're going to do that to do with like branding. That's actually a good question, really. Whether they're going to take the stand names across or not. Selling premium sections of retail space. Yeah, I mean, effectively, the way that you look at that, United could pretty much have a shopping centre around. You don't want a shopping centre around a stadium. If it's going to be football first, you can't just like walk past Selfridges. There's going to have to be a balance of that. Mark, I hope you're correct on that one. And if I was talking two ideal methods of financing, number one is stadium naming rights, because you're not gaining any debt as a football club. You're doing what just every club is doing anyway. And I think United would be able to get whatever the name of the new whatever the name of the new stadium is, presented by X would probably be it won't be like Spotify Camp Nou. I think United would be able to do it differently. But Ineos buying in for more equity is the ideal thing for me. And I really hope that is the way. I hope this is because we still don't really know the pathway to the full takeover. Gary Neville didn't ask him about it. I would love for this to be it. For Ineos to put money in return for more equity in the club. But what I genuinely think is going to happen is that Manchester United, in terms of the whole corporate structure, I think the stadium itself is going to become its own separate business entity. New Old Trafford Limited. And everything is going to go through there. And as for the ownership of that's probably where you would get Ineos buying part of it. Or I don't know. I've got no idea. Tops, you're saying, how much is the Ineos Tottenham seat sponsor? Well, that's stopped. They've already pulled out of that. It was only worth a few million anyway. Now, here's something I want to do here this morning, right? There's a couple of super chats. I'll read those out first. But then I want to run through these. This is on Man United's official website. I haven't actually clicked it yet, so I'm pretty sure that I can vote if I click one of them. But to you, just get it in the comments. Because there's 6 options, I can't bloody do it as a poll. I actually can't do a poll today. Damn it. Type it in the chat. To you, what is the most important aspect of a new Old Trafford? Is it atmosphere, capacity, preserving history, stadium name, ticket prices, or the fact that it is uniquely United? Which one of those stands out most to you? I'll read out some of your comments and then we'll click one. I think there's like 3 of these questions. Something like that. Rex, you're saying Wembley Stadium was 4 years and 3 times over budget. Yeah. I'm fully expecting this build to be realistically 3 billion, not 2 billion. Malaka, you sent a super chat, dude, but you didn't actually say anything. So I'll try and read another comment out if you leave one. I don't like the idea. It might just be me, but New Trafford, just it feels a bit gimmicky to me. I don't know whether it's just me, and maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it is. You can let me know what you think in the comments. But what answer have you got for this? Have a look. Akil, you're saying history. Adrian, John, Akash, you're all saying atmosphere. I think you can only pick one, Ryan. I haven't clicked it yet. Connor, you're saying atmosphere. Rex, you're saying atmosphere. Steve, atmosphere. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, good, right. I can see what the majority is saying here, and I agree with you, by the way. Atmosphere. Right, okay. Well, you're going to give me the answers. I don't know whether this goes like through to the club and whether they take these on board. Right? If the East Stand was renamed as part of a new Old Trafford, who would you name it after? So Matt Busby, Jimmy Murphy, a legendary player, or somebody else? I mean, that one feels like a bit of a rhetorical question, for me, totally honest. Although Jimmy Murphy, well, it's part of Carrington's named after Jimmy Murphy, I think, isn't it? And was it Jimmy Murphy who just got a... Did he finally get a statue? Is it in the Stretford end? Did he finally get one? I swear that happened. I swear that just got done. That one feels obvious to me. Right. Apparently I missed another super chat down there. Sorry, one sec. Oh, no. Because I'm not logged in, it's making my super chats go all goosey today. Sorry. Technical issues. Sack me. 1 second, Nick. Let me go back up here and see if I can do it on my phone instead. Where's the super chat at? No, I can't. So, Akash, sorry, it's too far gone now. It won't show me. My bad. Yeah, it's back in Stretford now. I thought it was. Yeah, so Matt Busby. What's the final question on here? Would you like to see more statues at a new Old Trafford? I'm not sure about that one. What statues have we got? We've got the Trinity. We've got Fergie. Is it Dennis Law at the top of the Stretford end? And then you got Jimmy Murphy around the back of it. Am I right on that? I don't know whether... How many statues is too many statues? I suppose is the question then, really. Different opinions down here. Quite a few saying yes, quite a few saying no. But who would you... Okay, then the question is this. Who would you have a statue of that we don't have a statue of? Busby? Class of 92 statue? A Vidic statue. Ronaldo's not getting a statue. No. Cantona. Yeah, that's a conversation there. That's a conversation. Duncan. I think you could probably have something more for the babes, but then you'd have to like pick and choose. Or you could do like a... Imagine that as just a random idea. Imagine that as part of the new procession walkway. When you're walking down there. And you know that iconic photo of like the last time that the babes lined up in... Who was it? Was it Belgrade we were flying back from? I can't remember if it was a Belgrade game. But that photo of them all standing in the lineup. Having that on the side is like you walk past them. That would be a pretty cool one. Someone saying Keane down there. Someone saying Beckham. Treble winners. Robson. Sancho. Someone saying Bobby, but obviously Bobby's part of the Holy Trinity statue. Don't know. It's just an interesting one. So maybe. That's what I say yes. I don't know why that. I thought that was going to give me the answers. It wasn't. It didn't. Right. What else are you saying down here? And you like a Munich clock tower with the eternal flame on top and statue the whole team stood staring up at it. That's a lot. I wonder how they're gonna. Jeez, there are so many damn questions to ask. This is going to be a conversation. Like, there's no way this gets done in 5 years. All right, optimistic as you might be. Yeah, it's not happening in 5 years, and it's not going to be 2 billion. Realistically, I'm going to be what? I'm going to be like 42 by the time this stadium is built. I think 6 years is what I would guess. That's what I would guess. 6. If they're saying 5, I'm guessing 6. If they're saying 2 billion, I'm guessing 3. But the government is backing for work to start ASAP, Rocky. All right. That's the last little bit of conversation. I find it interesting to have these conversations about the stadium, man. It's just a massive part of our future now. Of course, we can, and I will continue to question the financing. As I said, I think I'll do that. I think I might do a little bit of a mini documentary specifically looking into the financing and actually pulling up hard data on how Real Madrid financed theirs. And they financed it through staggered loans and staggered lending. And unfortunately, they just timed it right. Real Madrid were able to get interest rates of like 1.7% on loans. Because a few years ago, it was really low. Now you can't do that. Because the interest rates are absolutely nuts. So just loaning and just getting in loans would be significantly more risky and more expensive now compared to when Real Madrid did it. And we're already massively in debt. What did Barcelona do? What did Spurs do? What are other big stadium projects around the world right now that are currently going on? How are they paying for it? I think that'll be an interesting video for everyone because the financing is the big question. It's the big, big question. If United could benefit from interest rates that are like 1.7%, they kind of be stupid not to do it because it's effectively free money by the time you then pay it off. But we can't do that now. Anyway, I'll do some research on that. I think I might do that down as a mini documentary we can get out in a few weeks, specifically on the financing side of things, because as boring as it is, it's the big old elephant in the room. So, and this is why I understand that so many of you are like, well, Sam, I'm excited about the idea of a new stadium, but we haven't got a pot to piss in. So where are you finding 2 billion from that's not going to make our club even more lumbered with debt, considering debt is the reason that we have reached a position where we have no pot to piss in? I understand that. And I'm not ignoring that. And no, I'm not part of Ineos's PR team. If I was part of Ineos's PR team, you know how long I would have got sacked. Saying that, I don't think Ratcliffe's got very good PR advice. No, a Sam People statue. That would get... If I got a statue... Who was it? Was it the Ronaldo one that looked like the bloody statue head from Art Attack? Who was it that got the horror statue? I think it was Ronaldo. It just looked like it was made with clay. That's what mine would look like if anybody tried to make a statue of me. Right, let's move on to the next talking point, okay? If you are new here, by the way, welcome to United People's TV. I'm Sam. I'm here every single day. We have a chat. We have a conversation. I like to think that we're more level-headed here. And I actually get you involved. So please do subscribe and get on board because we're less than 8,000 now away from 500k as a community. And that's going to be cool. I'm definitely going to be doing a PS5 raffle at some point in the next few weeks, by the way, so keep your eyes peeled. I said I was going to do one in December, but I had to move house and it all got a bit mad. So I'm going to do that now. A Cantona Kung Fu kick statue. Could you imagine how many feathers that would ruffle? Right, Antony. Okay. You see this report coming out from Spain yesterday? The idea that, so of course, Antony's gone on loan to Real Betis and he's doing pretty well. He's scoring a few goals, he's getting a few assists. It's been a good loan spell. And they want to keep him. Okay, that makes sense. But they want to, the idea, just imagine they come to the table, right? So, all right, United, how you doing, lads? Yeah, Antony, he's done quite well in these last 6 months. We like him. But you know that try before you buy? Can we actually extend that like a whole nother season? Huh? We'll pay a little bit more of his wages. Huh? Mate, I would just slap them upside the head. You get a loan spell, fine. But you're not going to have Antony on loan for another whole season. If you want Antony, you buy Antony. You pay for Antony now. There is no way that United should be loan, unless you get, someone's saying down there, unless you get a hefty loan fee. And maybe that would be a case of, right, you get a loan fee of 20 million now, 15 million now, and then at the end of it, you can buy him for another 15 million, which technically would be the price. I don't know. Either way, there is no chance that United will be just letting Antony go on loan with more of his wages getting covered, especially considering 86% of his wages got covered in this loan. See, B saying down there, loan with an obligation, maybe no. This summer, you've had him on loan for 6 months already. There's no way that you're getting him on loan for another whole season. Make your mind up. Now, well, that's the wrong thing. 1 second there. Okay, right. 2 more little conversations around players. This come from ESPN. Rob Dawson yesterday saying that United are going to let Amram decide whether Sancho's going to have any future at the club. Well, he doesn't. See you later. End the conversation. And Amram will not want him back. My word. I think Amram's made it. If Amram was going to try and make it work with anybody, he would have tried to make it work with Rashford. Well, I think he did, but it didn't work out. No, Rashford gone, Sancho gone, Antony gone as well. And this is a little conversation from David Ornstein, right? About Højlund and Osimhen. This is what he said. He was speaking on, I can't remember what podcast it was. This is what he said, right? Saying, look, it's certainly an interesting proposition. I'm not sure how realistic it is. The idea of Højlund and Osimhen going in different directions. I do expect Osimhen to be on the move. Osimhen's definitely leaving Napoli. That relationship is completely tainted. And United have been linked, but I'm not sure how realistic it is that United would let go of Højlund. He is one who would raise some funds, but he would not produce a... And this is just a big old reality of United's transfers. Like, you know how I keep saying how boring it is, how much we have to kind of be accountants as football fans. You're not allowed to just look at a football player now. I mean, you can if you want, but it's not realistic. You can't just look at a football player and go, I like him. Would he fit in our team? Good, great. Or maybe you can at other clubs, but at Manchester United, you have to look at a player and go, how much is he going to cost? How much are his wages? How much can we get for Højlund? How much could we actually get for Højlund because of the value of him on the books, because we're still paying him off? It's a bit boring. Either way, I do not think that United will be selling Højlund this summer. Martin saying, why can't we have both? I think we will. I'm not saying that we're going to be having both Osimhen and Højlund, but I think Højlund will stay, and I think United will get one more striker in, and I think it will be that experienced striker. It has to be somebody, just somebody over the age of like 25 who has a record of scoring goals and being the leading man at whatever club he has played for. Mateta at Crystal Palace, Osimhen at Galatasaray, Gyökeres at Sporting, and there's going to be others that you can add onto the list. I don't think Højlund goes anywhere this summer. I've seen suggestions and the idea that maybe United would consider loaning Højlund out. It's not impossible, okay? It's not impossible. But I don't think it will happen. Anyway, I just wanted a little conversation there from David Ornstein on Osimhen. I think Osimhen's wages are going to stop any move for him. Andy's saying if we can sign Osimhen, I feel Højlund might want to leave. Look, man, if you're Rasmus Højlund, the crap that you've had this year, because you've been crap, you cannot complain that United are going to go and sign a top-class striker. If that drives you out of the club, well then, okay, right, well, there's nothing we can do for you then. We're getting a new striker in. I don't think that's going to drive Højlund away and go, that's it, they turned their back on me. No, I want to be where are you going to go and be the main man? Not after the season you've had. You're not going to go and be the main man anyway. So you may as well stay. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Højlund can do after this international break. We have to see something different now. It can't be a case of coming back from the international break. Højlund plays Forest and plays City and plays Lyon. And there's no goals, there's no goals, there's no goals. And it's just like... he's just slipped back into that pattern. He has to break that pattern. He really, really does. Client, thank you for gifting 10 memberships, dude. Nice to see you. All the way from South Africa. A couple of member chats here. What are you saying, Steve? We need a world-class midfielder. Yeah. We need a lot of signings this summer, dude. Duncan, you're saying United linked to Angel Gomez on a free again. Are Ineos looking to replace Mainu? And is it a bad move? Angel Gomez, look. I think on paper, if you think about Christian Eriksen leaving, he was a free transfer. Angel Gomez coming in on a free transfer. Well, that's not... I could deal with that. In one sense. And then the other sense is I keep screaming that probably the biggest problem we've got in this squad is physicality. Athletes in and out of possession. And then Angel Gomez. It just doesn't line up. I think if our squad was in a healthier position, I think the idea of bringing Angel Gomez back in on a free would kind of make sense. But given that I'm going into this summer and saying if I'm choosing one characteristic between all of these, it's like, we need athletes, man. We need more Dorgus. You've seen the difference that a Dorgu makes. Ball carrying. You can't push him off the ball. He's great in the duel, shoulder to shoulder. We need that all across the pitch. So for me to then go, Angel Gomez would be a good signing, it'll be a good signing because it'll be free. It'll be a good signing because he's technically very good with the ball at his feet. But there are elements of his game which I would definitely question. We'll see, though. United might do it. Simply because he's free. Now, something that's got announced yesterday, which will be cool if you can go, right? That's the FA Youth Cup. That's United beating Arsenal. And that's the announcement that the FA Youth Cup semi-final is at Villa Park on the 31st of March. There's something about FA Cups and Villa Park. Was it? I think it was a semi-final against Arsenal, wasn't it? It was a semi-final. It was a replay. Obviously, I'm talking about that game with Arsenal. Man, I haven't watched that game. Fucking hell, that season had it all, man. Jeez. Neville given the penalty away. Schmeichel saving the penalty. Roy Keane getting sent off before. Ryan Giggs in extra time. Anyway, if you can go, I'd encourage you to go. I think tickets are going to be a £5. So look, the ticket information down here. Blah, 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 blah. Ow. I did actually tell you. I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of blocks. Man, the United website's so annoying. Holy crap. You ever sometimes get stuck in the menu on the United website? Oh my God, how can you spend so much money and have such a crap website? There we go. You get stuck in the main menu sometimes. I think it's a £5 for a ticket. So if you can, go and watch it. It'll be awesome. Yeah, right. I'm going to wrap that one up. Last couple minutes of the show. If you want to fire in any questions, fire them in. The floor is yours. But main conversation there today, and a lot of the conversation that we're going to have over the next however long will be around about the stadium. And I'm going to probably try and do a deep dive into the finances. And I might also do a bit of a deep dive into projects that Norman Foster has led elsewhere and sort of any problems they may have run into or any successes that they have. Don't know. Let's have a look down here in the comments. The money raised will be as vital as the signings that we make, says Robin. Now, today's lunchtime video is going to be about, I'm going to call it like fixing Man United's recruitment, talking about the summer strategy, the summer plan. Speaking about what's happened so far under Ineos, what we can expect this summer. And then tomorrow, going to be having a video. This will be a cool video. It's a video on right wing backs, looking at internal options. There's three options I would say that United have. If, hypothetically, we don't sign a right wing back, who could be that right wing back internally? There are genuinely three options. I'm not talking about scraping the barrel options, but three genuine options. Rex saying, how's it cold now? I've done a show without coughing. Come on, the boys. Now I guarantee I want to cough. But look, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As someone saying, is Chido going to be playing in the final of the VFA Youth Cup? Well, he didn't play against Arsenal. He's a first-team player now. As a first-team player, the priorities are the first team. If it doesn't match up, he won't be involved. You know how to got this far. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Much love. Big up to all of you. Drop a like on the video. I will be back here tomorrow, as always. And lunchtime today with a video on United's recruitment. All right? Take it easy.